Okay, HTML stands for HTML
Hypertext.
Hypertext Markup Language. Markup language. Okay, so this is used for this hypertext markup language used for implement web forms. Okay, to develop web forms. Develop web forms. So web forms nothing but web pages. Okay. So this HTML for describing web documents, and a standardized system for standardized system for tagging text files to achieve font colors and the graphics. Okay, and the hyperlinks. So, so markup language is a set of markup tags. A markup language is a set of markup tags. HTML documents are described by HTML tags. HTML documents are described by HTML tags. So each HTML tag describes different document content. Each HTML tag describes different document content, and we have versions in HTML versions. First version is HTML 1.0 and HTML 2.0, and next HTML 3.2, and next version is HTML 4.01, and next XHTML, and finally HTML5. HTML5. So actually this version is released in first version 1.0 version released in 1991, and second version released in 1995, and the third version released in 1997, and fourth version 1999, and XHTML 2000, and HTML5 2010. Okay, so HTML5 2008, released in 2008. So these are the versions of HTML from 1.0 to HTML5. So the features of all these versions. First version is HTML 1.0. This features is the first version of HTML that supported inline images, and text controls. Okay, text controls. So inline images and text controls means, so we have to use image tag to display the images in HTML form. So we have to use image tag to display images, and source attribute to give the image path to display in HTML documents. Here image path and height of the image and width of the image. Okay, so next, text controls means input controls. Input tag type equal to text, so that is text box. Input. So this HTML 1.0 supports images and inline images and text controls. And HTML 1.0 was very limited in terms of styling. HTML 1.0 was very limited in terms of styling and presentation of content. So for example, HTML 1.0 not supported to tables and forms, tables and frames, and to specify the fonts. So we can't specify the fonts, and we can't change the page background. Okay, so we can't do using HTML 1.0. Okay, we can't use tables and frames. We can't specify uh, font types, and we can't change the page backgrounds also. And next to HTML 2.0 version. So this version supported for more browsers. This version supported more browsers and also supports supports text boxes and optional buttons and also limited set of form elements, limited set of form elements. And HTML 2.0, we can change page background, change page background, and we can use HTML tables. Okay, so this is the features of HTML 2.0 version. And next version is HTML 3.2. Okay, so this version includes this version included support for creating tables and expanded options, for form elements, and this version also supports supports web pages to include complex mathematical equations. Complex mathematical equations. And HTML 4.0 4.0.1. Okay, so HTML 4.0, so we can use style sheets in this version. We can use style sheets. So style sheets nothing but to apply style sheets, to apply CSS styles. So in HTML 4.0, now we can change page background and page look of the website. Can change look and feel of website. And next HTML, so these two versions are same, and HTML5 features supports number of features is there in HTML5. That is, first one is new doc type, and the second one is figure element, and the third one is no more types and skips for links. No more types for skips and links. And the fourth feature is local storage, and this is the most important feature, local storage. And the fifth one is email inputs, and the sixth one is header element, and the seventh one is footer element, and the eighth one fig gap element, and the ninth one is canvas uh, canvas, and 10th one is content editable. So these are the important features, the most important features in HTML5. So I'll explain these concepts in tomorrow session. So today we can do one example on HTML. So here I'm using a Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio editor to explain the examples. So here 10/31/2016. Okay, so HTML folder is created here. So I am opening this HTML folder in Visual Studio. So one more thing is, to implement HTML documents, we can use to implement HTML documents. So we can use below editors. So first one is Adobe Dreamweaver, and next second one is Coffee Cup HTML editor. Coffee Cup HTML editor, and third one is Microsoft Expression Web. And the fourth one is Notepad, and fifth one is Sublime Text. Notepad++ also we can use, or Notepad++, and the Sublime Text. Okay, Sublime Text. So number of editors is there, and these are the important editors. Okay, most of in development they are using these editors. Okay, Coffee Cup or Microsoft Expression Web or Adobe Dreamweaver or Sublime Text. Okay, so use any one of these editor, and Microsoft Visual Studio also we can use. Okay, for examples. So here in my system Microsoft Visual Studio is there, so I'm using this editor. So here I want to open our project. Okay, HTML is our project name. Okay, select this folder and open here. Okay, so here there is no files. Okay, empty folder and with text document. So here right click on Solution Explorer and add Okay, HTML page, or we can use Notepad also. Directly open Notepad, okay, and write our HTML documents here. Doc type HTML and HTML tag. For each and every tag, merchant should have starting tag and ending tag. HTML and a header section and body section. So this body section contains all HTML elements like a paragraph or div element or text boxes or radio buttons or check boxes, anything. Okay, so all HTML elements will be in body tag, and in header section we can call style sheets, or JavaScript files. Okay, so in header section, and write our HTML tags in Notepad and save this Notepad as with the .html extension. Okay, .html extension, sample.html. To save our Notepad with the .html extension. Okay, so this form is created in our HTML folder. Okay, Chrome HTML document, so that we can place number of HTML tags in body tag. Suppose I want to display some example paragraph. This is example paragraph. Okay, save this document and go to here in this folder, double click on this. Okay, see here, this is example paragraph, and here we can remove this. Okay, so the paragraph is displaying in our output. So if you want to see the HTML tags in Google Chrome or any editors, any browser, go to inspect element. Okay, here you can see total HTML code. Okay, doc type HTML and HTML tag and body section and body section. Okay, so in this body we have one paragraph is there. So this is the example HTML form. Okay, so that form is came here also. Or if you want to create HTML document in Visual Studio, right click on your solution, okay, HTML folder, and go to add option, and here HTML page. You give your HTML form name. Okay, my example. So in Visual Studio, one HTML form is created, my example.html, and this tags also created. Okay, by default HTML tag and header section and title tag and body section. So default tags are already created. So you can place number of HTML tags in body section. Okay, div tag or paragraph, okay, or text box. So any HTML element we can place in body section. So this meta cassette UTF is used for uh, bootstraps. Okay, I will explain this meta tag in bootstrap. placeholder, first name, okay, and this is a sample paragraph, my example paragraph, and this is some sample content. So you can copy this content and paste here, okay, for example, to display the content. And save this document and right click on here, view in browser. Okay, so text box is displaying here, and div div tag content and paragraph content is displaying. Okay, go to inspect element to see the tags. Okay, div tag and paragraph and text box. Okay, this placeholder is used for identification of text box. And next, so in this HTML document, how we can place CSS properties and how we can use JavaScript in HTML document. So for example, I want to apply okay background color for div tag and border color for this div, and height and width also, so that we can use uh, style tag in header section, okay, and write our CSS properties in header section. One second. So use style tag. So here three ways to apply CSS properties to our HTML tags based on ID selector or class selector or element selector. So I will explain these three selectors in CSS. Just for example, I'm using ID for div. Okay, so this is the identification name of div tag. So use div tag ID to apply CSS properties. Okay, based on ID selector, we are applying background color. So background color is red color or anything we can use. Okay, red color, and text color is white, and height and width for div tag, height 300 pixels and width 300 pixels. And next, border, 1 pixel border and solid border style. Okay, I will explain all these properties in CSS. Okay, so 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 we have to learn about color codes. Okay, so like to apply background color, just put here ash. Okay, ash, and go to here. So you can select your color. Okay, what do you want, and that color code will be appear here. Okay, so color codes, and for white also same. For white, triple F. So notepad doesn't happen this feature, so that you can go to Google and you can search that color codes in HTML color codes. So open this first, and you can find it here. Okay, so your color codes will be appear here. Okay, so this one or this one. Okay, so htmlcolorcodes.com. So go to this site to know the color codes. So this is the one option for notepad. And border color is as symbol. Okay, so div tag background color and text color, height and width and border. Okay, so run this example. Okay, so css properties apply to the div tag. So like this we can apply css properties. Okay, and how we can use JavaScript in HTML tags. So in the end of the body tag we can use script tag. Okay, so to execute the JavaScript function, when you click on the button, so you can take one button, type equal to button, and button text is mm, click on me. Okay, and type value and close this. Okay, and create one function in JavaScript, my function. Okay, so when you click on the button, so you can display some alert message. Okay, alert box, JavaScript working in this browser. Okay, so when you click on the button, so this function is executed and it displays some alert box. So to call this JavaScript function, okay, we need to call this function in button click event. Okay, on click. So this is the event for button to call the JavaScript functions. So refresh this form and click on this button. Okay, JavaScript working in this browser. So like this we can use CSS and JavaScript in HTML forms. Okay, so this is the sample example. Okay, how we can create HTML document, and how we can use CSS and how we can use JavaScript in HTML documents.